Okay. Dah ready? Okay. 1, 2, action.
Welcome to Voice of Hope, the podcast where we discuss pressing global issues and shed light on the stories of the effects. I'm your host Akish, and joining me today is my co-host and friend Rin. In today's episode, we will be diving deep into the global refugee crisis, the challenge refugees face in the various aspects in their life. Rin, it's an important and timely topic. Shall we get started?
Absolutely, Akish. This topic deserves our attention and understanding. Let's begin by acknowledging the scale of the global refugee crisis. According to UN Refugee Agency, there are currently over 80 million of forcibly displaced people worldwide, with more than 26 being refugees.
So, Rin, what exactly is the global refugee crisis?
The global refugee crisis is a humanitarian challenge involving millions of displaced people fleeing conflict, persecution, and the violence in their home countries. It's a complex issue that requires a multifaceted approach. According to UNHCR, by the end of 2021, nearly 26 million refugees were registered globally. But behind this number are real people with stories and struggle.
Those numbers represent individuals who have left everything behind, right? Their homes, possessions, and sometimes even their families. The impact on their life is immeasurable. And behind each statistic, there are human stories of resilience, hope, and immense challenge. Let's explore some of those challenges. One significant aspect is the lack of access to basic necessities, such as shelter, food, and clean water. Refugees often find themselves in overcrowded camps or makeshift settlements where living conditions are extremely difficult.
Absolutely, Akish. It's heartbreaking to think about the struggle how they face just to meet their basic needs, and it doesn't stop here. Okay, the education is another major challenge for refugee children and youth. Many are unable to attend a school due to limited resources, language barrier, and discrimination. This denies them the opportunity for personal growth and brighter future.
Rin, and let's not forget about the mental health implication of being displaced. Refugees often experience trauma, anxiety, and depression as a result of their displacement and the hardship they face. Access to mental health support is crucial, and it is often lacking in refugee settings.
Yes, I agree. It's vital that we prioritize mental health support for refugees and create safe space for them to heal and rebuild their life. Another challenge that deserves attention is the issue of integration and social acceptance. Refugees often face discrimination, xenophobia, and cultural barrier in their host country, which can hinder their ability to rebuild their life and contribute to their new communities.
You are right, Rin. Integration is key to fostering a sense of belonging and enabling refugees to thrive. It's important for host communities to embrace diversity and offer opportunities for refugees to integrate both socially and economically.
Absolutely, Akish. We should also mention the incredible resilience and strength demonstrated by refugees. Despite the challenges they face, they often contribute to their host communities, bringing unique skills, talent, and cultural richness.
That's an excellent point, Rin. It's crucial to recognize the potential and contributions of refugees and work towards creating inclusive societies that value their skills and experience.
Definitely, Akish, and it also worth mentioning the organization and individual working tirelessly to support refugees. From humanitarian aid workers to volunteer and activities, their efforts are vital in providing assistance, advocating for refugees' rights, and raising awareness about the global refugee crisis.
Absolutely. It's not confined to one region. We see it happening worldwide.
يلا شرفوا يلا روحوا يا جماعه شرفوا
Vienna, Vienna, Vienna.
No Budapest.
Do you know how many kilometers?
No, I don't know.
Kilometer, no problem.
أنا يا أخي إذا ما صار والله إذا أخذونا عندكم ما شافونا البيت.
Who are the refugees? In a world where boundaries are defined by written borders, the lasting impact of displacement shapes existence profoundly. The term refugee carries deep meaning, symbolizing the human toll of conflict, persecution, and unrest. Presently, the global number of refugees is 35.3 million, with the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, responsible for protecting 29.4 million, and an additional 5.9 million receiving support from the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, established in 1949 to aid displaced Palestinians.
What is the root cause of this crisis?
The global refugee crisis is a multifaceted issue arising from a complex interplay of factors. Armed conflicts, civil wars, and political instability, as seen in Syria, Afghanistan, and South Sudan, force people to flee for safety. Systematic persecution based on race, religion, nationality, or political Opinion, exemplified by the Rohingya crisis in Myanmar, leads to mass refugee flows. Widespread human rights abuses, such as torture and discrimination, contribute to displacement, as observed in the Darfur conflict. Environmental factors like natural disasters and climate change, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, also drive forced migration. Religious and ethnic tensions, economic hardship, poverty, statelessness, discriminatory policies, and the impact of terrorism, like ISIS in Iraq and Syria, further contribute to the complex refugee landscape. Additionally, political instability and governance failures, exemplified by Venezuela, prompt millions to seek refuge. Conflict zones, the highlight regions with significant refugee flows due to conflicts. 1. The refugee crises across different regions highlight the profound impact of conflicts and instability. In the Middle East, the ongoing Syrian conflict has generated one of the largest global refugee crises, with millions seeking safety in neighboring countries. Similarly, the Yemeni conflict has led to internal displacement and a humanitarian crisis. In Africa, protracted conflicts in South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of the Congo have caused extensive internal displacement and refugee movements to neighboring nations. The situation in Afghanistan has resulted in continuous displacement, while the Rohingya crisis has forced significant refugee flows to countries like Bangladesh. In Europe, conflicts and instability in the Middle East and North Africa have fueled refugee movements towards Eastern Europe and the Western Balkans. Lastly, in Latin America, the economic and political crisis in Venezuela has prompted millions to seek refuge in neighboring countries like Colombia, Brazil, and Ecuador. Each region faces unique challenges, emphasizing the urgency of addressing the root causes and providing humanitarian support. Address challenges refugees face in terms of integration and well-being. Forced displacement, exemplified by the Rohingya crisis in Myanmar, highlights the urgency of addressing challenges faced by refugees. Access to basic needs, such as shelter and healthcare, is a critical issue, as seen among Syrian refugees. In Lebanon and Jordan, legal status and protection pose hurdles for stateless Rohingya refugees denied citizenship. Healthcare, especially mental health services, remains a concern for those who have experienced trauma, like Syrian refugees in Turkey and Lebanon. Education barriers affect refugee children, exemplified by South Sudanese refugees in Uganda. Employment and livelihood challenges, as faced by Venezuelan refugees in Colombia, underscore the need for economic support. Social integration issues, discrimination against Somali refugees in Kenya, and family separation during displacement are additional challenges. Security concerns, particularly for LGBTQ+ refugees, demand attention. The uncertainty of a durable future, witnessed among Afghan refugees in Pakistan, emphasizes the importance of comprehensive international efforts to address these complex issues and enhance the well-being of refugees worldwide. Local impact, how refugee influx affects the host communities. The influx of refugees into host communities can have diverse impacts, influencing economic, social, and political dynamics. Positively, refugees may contribute to local economies by starting businesses and filling labor gaps, stimulating economic growth. However, the increased demand for resources can strain local economies, leading to competition for jobs and potential tensions. The impact on infrastructure and services varies, with the potential for improvements through humanitarian aid, but also the risk of overwhelming existing systems. Socially, interaction between refugees and hosts can foster cultural exchange, understanding, and tolerance, but cultural differences may lead to tensions. Positive on security can create safer environments, while perceived Threats and competition may result in conflicts. Education may benefit from international assistance, but face challenges due to increased demand. Housing and land use may see positive developments, but can lead to strain and disputes. Context-specific responses and effective policies are crucial to navigating these complexities and fostering positive outcomes for both refugees and host communities. Humanitarian efforts explore the initiatives and organizations aiding refugees. Numerous humanitarian organizations play crucial roles in addressing the needs of refugees globally. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, leads international efforts, providing shelter, healthcare, and advocacy for refugees in crises like Syria, Yemen, South Sudan, and Myanmar. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, focuses on the safety and well-being of displaced populations, actively responding to the Rohingya crisis. The World Food Programme, WFP, addresses food insecurity in refugee contexts, participating in responses to crises in Syria, South Sudan, and Yemen. Medicines. Sans Frontieres, Doctors Without Borders, offers medical care to refugees in conflict zones across the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. The International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, protects lives in conflict zones, engaging in areas with significant refugee populations. Care International and Oxfam work on poverty alleviation and humanitarian assistance, responding to refugee crises. Globally, Save the Children prioritizes the well-being of children in crisis situations, actively involved in responses to refugee crises in Syria, Yemen, and the Rohingya crisis. These organizations collaborate with governments and communities to provide comprehensive support for refugees.
Sharing of positive stories of refugees' resilience and successful integration. Amid the challenges faced by refugees, numerous positive stories highlight resilience and successful integration into new communities. These stories emphasize the strength, talents, and contributions refugees bring to their host countries. Here are a few examples. Refugee entrepreneurship. Example: Hamdi Ulukaya, a Kurdish entrepreneur and founder of Chobani Yogurt in the United States, is a Turkish-Kurdish immigrant who fled political turmoil in Turkey. He built one of the most successful and socially responsible food companies in the U.S., demonstrating the entrepreneurial spirit of refugees' educational achievements. Example: Malala Yousafzai, a Pakistani activist for female education, was displaced by the Taliban's actions in Pakistan's Swat Valley. Despite facing adversity, Malala became a global advocate for girls' education and the youngest ever Nobel Prize laureate. Olympic success. Example: Yusra Mardini, a Syrian refugee, participated in the 2016 Rio Olympics as part of the Refugee Olympic team. A swimmer, Mardini's journey from fleeing war to competing on the world stage showcases resilience and determination. Artistic contributions. Example: Khaled Hosseini, the Afghan-American author of The Kite Runner and A Thousand Splendid Suns, is a former refugee. His literary works have not only gained international acclaim but also contributed to raising awareness about the refugee experience. Community leadership. Example: Ilan Omar, a Somali-American politician, refugee, and member of the U.S. House of Representatives, is an advocate for refugee rights. Her story exemplifies the potential for refugees to become community leaders and make a positive impact on society. Scientific achievements. Example: Albert Einstein, one of the most renowned scientists of the 20th century, was a refugee from Nazi Germany. His groundbreaking contributions to physics showcase the potential of refugees to contribute significantly to various fields. Culinary success. Example, An and Linh Nguyen, Vietnamese refugees, are the founders of the popular restaurant, Banana Flower, in Australia. Their culinary success demonstrates how refugees can enrich the gastronomic landscape of their new homes. Humanitarian advocacy. Example, Zainab Salbai, an Iraqi-American author and humanitarian, founded Women for Women International to support women survivors of war. Her work illustrates how refugees can turn their experiences into a force for positive change.
Their dedication and compassion are truly inspiring. Before we wrap up, let's remind our listeners that everyone can play a part in making a difference. Whether it's through supporting organizations, volunteering, or simply spreading the awareness, we can all contribute to creating a more welcoming and compassionate world for refugees.
Well said, Akish. And with that, it's time to wrap up today's episode. We hope this discussion has shed some light on the challenges refugees face and the importance of addressing the global refugees crisis.
Thank you all for joining on Voice of Earth. Remember, together we can make a difference. Until next time, bye!